UK Foreign Minister visits Guyana. Region 3 squatters urged to move. And Exxon seeks environmental consultants. I am Enrico Beaufort, and this is Uncut News. To see news happening, send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6154. David Rutley, the UK's Minister for the Caribbean and the Americas, arrived in Guyana to participate in the launch of the British Chamber of Commerce Guyana, Britcham Guyana, and met with government officials. Britcham Guyana aims to promote and facilitate commercial business opportunities and mutual beneficial relationships between the UK and Guyana, which is the UK's largest trading partner in the Caribbean. The new organization will be chaired by Faisal Khan, CEO of Guyana Group, and supported by a board of leading businesses executives with close ties to both countries. On a related note, the British have returned. No, not like that. British Airways has launched a twice-weekly scheduled service between London and Georgetown via St. Lucia, marking a major business and tourism push for Guyana, the United Kingdom, and of course St. Lucia. The new service is seen as a realization of the Guyanese government's aim to connect the nation to other parts of the world, with the economy growing rapidly and more business interest taking place. And of course, that's how Rutley got here. He was on that flight. In other aviation-related news, Guyana, a Dominican Republic-based airline, is exploring business opportunities in the Guyana market. The CEO of Guyana met with officials of the Chedichagan International Airport to discuss potential areas for partnership, including possible flight connections between Houston, Texas, and Toronto, Canada, via the Dominican Republic. The intention is that the flight will only have a refueling stop in the Dominican Republic when flying to Houston and Toronto. French Navy vessel La Confiance visited Guyana as part of the Week of Francophonie, celebrating the French language. The visit included a reception aboard the ship and certificates presented to students learning French through Alliance Française. The commanding officers of La Confiance and Guyana's Chief of Staff exchanged knowledge and good practices during a courtesy call. France seeks to deepen its relationship with Guyana through the opening of a local office of the French Embassy in Guyana later this year. The Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell, has urged squatters along riverbeds and sea defences in Region 3 to relocate, as areas have already been earmarked for regularisation. These sea defence areas cannot be regularised, so the Minister urged the squatters to relocate. The government is also making access to finance for construction of houses easier, with initiatives by the government and private companies and the housing drive in Region 3, which will continue to expand.
Hey, I'm interrupting this program to let you know that not all truck parts are created equal. Some does work hard without any problems for a long time, while others does make your truck break down quick and got you running your pockets again. Get genuine high-quality parts from Powered Automotive Truck Spares and Engine Parts and extend the life of your repair. They're the authorized dealer in Guyana for Hammer USA products like brake valves, clutch discs, universal bearings, and others. Visit them at 1161 EE Eccles or call them on 697-0171. Powered Automotive, the #1 truck and engine parts store in Guyana. If you didn't know, well, now you know.
Now it's time to tell you about the best price car of the week. Currently on sale is 2020 Toyota Raze. It's almost brand new, and it comes with Toyota safety sets, Bluetooth, mud grills, new tires, TV, CD, LED lighting, fog lamps, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cars for $6 million. Or pay as low as $1.2 million down with around $160,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Pinochet, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them we can send you for this sweet deal. Tired of waiting on hold, tracking down a delivery driver, or carrying cash for your food orders? GT Eat is here to make your life easier. Guyana's first cashless food ordering and delivery app. Choose from Georgetown's top restaurants, pay securely with your card, and get your food delivered right to your doorstep. With the convenience of being able to order from your phone and the added feature of tracking your order, GT Eats is the ultimate solution for all your food needs. Download the app on Apple and Android stores and start ordering the easy way today. A 61-year-old security guard, Glenn McLeod, has died after being hit by a car driven by a drunken driver on the Kanji Bridge. The driver, a 25-year-old man, lost control of his vehicle and collided with McLeod, who was cycling in the same direction. The driver and 2 passengers in the car were also injured and taken to the hospital. However, the driver has since been arrested, as of course, he was drunk and he killed a man. A man in Georgetown has been sentenced to 5 years in jail and fined $5.4 million for possession of narcotics for the purposes of trafficking. Kanu caught Andy Chandanan in Georgetown about a week ago with 12 pounds of imported marijuana worth $1.8 million. Over the weekend, 25-year-old Russell Alacott lost his right arm after being attacked by a giant caiman while on a fishing trip in Anai, Region 9. He was rescued by his friend and taken to the Anai Cottage Hospital before being rushed to the Latham Regional Hospital for emergency surgery. As of today, he is in stable condition and recovering. Now for today's oil update. The Private Sector Commission and the GCCI have identified 25 additional categories that could be included in Guyana's Local Content Act, which could almost double the original 40 areas legislated in December 2021. The GCCI president emphasized the importance of local content in the oil and gas industry and expressed support for the government's efforts to promote it. However, he also called for regulations to close loopholes that have allowed companies to circumvent the law through rent-seeking and contract bundling, which deprive locals of opportunities to grow. The chamber has also advocated for major contracts to be unbundled to allow up-and-coming Guyanese businesses to win contracts. So, more money for them. In other oil news, Exxon is seeking to conduct additional studies related to its petroleum operations offshore Guyana. These studies include biodiversity assessments, environmental monitoring, and environmental and socioeconomic assessments. Environmental campaigners are placing a greater spotlight on the potential impacts of petroleum operations offshore and the capacity of the nation's environmental regulators. Recently, campaigners filed appeals against a decision by the EPA to not require an environmental impact assessment for a natural gas power plant, which could see an additional EIA being required for the project and a delay to the start of construction.
You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Robbery season might be over, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home or business with Sheriff Security. Sheriff Security has well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. They speed leaving our drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today.
Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it plays to us. Last night I asked, what questions do you have for me, Noriko?
But before we get to that, I'm proud to announce our latest addition to the Noble Army, Richard Singh, who is supporting us at the reporter level, the highest level of monthly support we've received so far. So thank you, Richard Singh. And also, a special thank you to David Griffith, Dion Nascimento, Project Zero, and Dimitri V. I appreciate you all. And if you're watching at home and you'd like to support our movement, just hit the link in the video description.
Dimitri V asked, several questions. First, what are your thoughts on the government making all these infrastructure projects without consulting the public or having the assembly to discuss with other members of parliament? Honestly, I don't like it at all. I understand the desire to fulfill campaign promises, that's what any government does, but I believe that far too often transparency and inclusive democracy are sacrificed in the name of national development and unity. The second question is, what are some ways you think the government can deal with the higher cost of living? The government has to be honest with the people about the real source of inflation for us. Not all of it is imported from supply chains and all the other stuff you keep hearing on television. It is genuinely my opinion that much of our economic problems today can be blamed on out-of-date economic models. Our government's main economic advisors are old folks who subscribe to a form of economics that was relevant when they learned it 30 years ago, but it's not so much anymore as the world has completely changed. But if it's any consolation, even Jerome Powell couldn't predict this inflation, so I'm not too surprised that Jack Deal and Peter Ramsrup couldn't predict our inflation. And the third question, in my opinion, do I believe that this presidency has done more for the nation than Granger's administration, or is it about the same? You know, they both had their good and bad. Far too much to say here and to simplify in just a few seconds, but if I could say anything, I guess in terms of construction, this government has done far more. Now for tonight's question. Since we were talking about it, I'm going to now turn the question over to you all. How has inflation been affecting you so far? Have you had to reduce expenses, or have you had to go and get a second job or get a side hustle to make ends meet? I want to hear from you. So, think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and 6 out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nico Bolford saying good night, folks.